knitters, Faye Lim from Strands Knitting Studio in San Clemente, California. And today I have what I'm wearing, what's on my needles, and classes. Stay tuned. Okay, so what I'm wearing is called Amazing Day. It's actually a shawl. I'm sort of wearing it like a cowl because I love my cowls. So we did this out of the lamb and goat, which is up here, which is sort of a fingering. And then all the minis right here, these minis, those are what I use for the different colors. Now, we also have these bundles from Blue Sky. This is worsted. So, but you could do this and you just have a bigger scarf. And then you have all these great colors you could use. And we still have like the blue and gray one. I mean, that would be so pretty. And then you would just find a different base, a worsted weight base for the actual scarf, and we've got lots to choose from. So if you don't want to do fingering, you don't have to. We've got plenty of little baby skeins that would work really well. But this is, lamb and goat is a very yummy yarn, and these are very pretty too. So that is Amazing Day. And then what's on my... So this is editing Faye Lynn, and as you can see, I had tied the end of the shawl and to make it a cowl, and I didn't have to worry about the ends falling out, but it ended up around my neck, and I didn't notice it until everything was all done. So that's the way that one rolls. Can you guess what's on my needles? You should be able to. So I ripped it out last time. Let's see if I look in the right bag here. So I've got Norta. What is it called? It's called Norta Pullover, I think. Yeah, Norta Pullover. So this is Isabel Kramer. And get rid of some of these little tails. So there we go so far. And it fits because I had to try it on now before I went any further. And it is. And this is actual gauge. So there's a sneaky way of doing gauge in the round, because when you knit in the round, you never purl, but you get stockinette. If you're knitting back and forth flat, you have to knit a row, purl a row to get stockinette. So your purl stitches, the purl rows, always a little bit looser than the knit rows, because you actually have to bring yarn forward and then do your stitches. So there's actually a little bit more yarn doing a purl than there is a knit. So if you try to do gauge, it's not going to be the same gauge as when you go in the circle and all you do is knit, 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 knit. But there's a tricky way, which I won't explain that, but there is a way to sort of fudge it and still go back and forth. Well, go back and back and back. Yeah. Anyways, and it didn't work this time. I don't know, because I've used it quite often and it's worked. But I really didn't have gauge, even though once I started knitting in the round, I didn't have gauge. I was too tight. So now I have gauge. I went up a needle size and I got gauge. So so this is stranded Fair Isle. And then there's going to be some of this down at the bottom of by the hem and the bottom of the sleeves. So this is a real simple Fair Isle. If you've never done Fair Isle, this is a real simple Fair Isle. This is a yoke sweater. So it's not raglan, it's yokes, which means you have so many rows. Every now and then you have a row where you do a bunch of increases, you know, in the row, like increase, knit 8, increase, knit 8, stuff like that, so that you get this bigger. So that's what's on my needles. Yay, it fits, it's working, I love it. So here we go. So this, we use Falkland for this, because it's supposed to be like a bulky yarn. And I think ours is like a light bulky. I'm not sure it's as bulky as the one she actually used. But it says bulky. This is bulky. So, but Falkland is our, and here's the thing. So, bulky, chunky, what does that mean? The actual title on here is chunky. But when you read the little 5 down here, it says bulky. So, chunky and bulky are, you know, it's a big range on what is chunky and bulky. It's not like worsted and DK and sport and fingering are pretty set. You know, you can have light versions and heavy versions, but they're not as big a difference as these bulky, chunky ones can be. So you gotta sort of look at the grams per, you know, how many grams, like this is 100 grams, and how many yards are to get on 100 grams. And then compare that to the patterns yarn, 100 grams, how many yards? So if this is 100 grams and it's 150 yards, but theirs is 100 grams and it's 100 yards, then you can tell that this one's way bulkier than this one because it has 50 yards less than this one does, but they weigh the same. So yarn is done by weight, not by yardage. So you have to know, you have to compare 100 grams, usually 100 grams, 50 grams, 25 grams. So you got to compare the 100 gram skeins and see the yardage to know whether yours is a little bit lighter or a little bit heavier or a perfect match. That's always a great thing. So anyways, we have lots of colors in this. This is not our only. So I've got the pink, obviously. I've got the 2 grays. I've got this. There's a lot of colors. So if you're interested, you know, there's your another. I don't know quite when I'll have it ready in the store to try on, but I'm working on it. Okay, and the next class is a hat class, and it's got this really, I love this hat. And so there's a couple little techniques that you'll learn in doing this hat, but as you see, it's very repetitive, so you'll get it down pretty quick. And a technique isn't a hard technique, you just have to know what you're doing. So there's this, there's also a pair of mitts. So if you wanted to do, you know, the mitts too, you could. And this pattern, you can either use a DK weight, a worsted weight, or a chunky weight, like we just talked about. So you could, like almost any yarn, you can make this work. In the emailer, I'll have what if you're doing a DK, what you need, and the different weights, what you need to make this hat. But this is just a really, very cool hat. It's just, and as I said, you get to learn a new technique. You're gonna be going down and stitches below to pull up. So you gotta pull up those little flower things. Pretty good, huh? Yeah. So that class is Wednesday the 7th at 4:30. Wednesday 7th, 4:30. And that, my knitters, is all there is. We're really busy in the store. I am booking up very fast. If you want to do workshops, please make sure you get signed up. And my private times are booking up, totally booking up. So like I'm totally booked until next Wednesday now. So so if you're interested in doing any of that, you need to get with me. Call in, text me, whatever you can do, and email me. That's on the website, and get signed in for either workshops or privates. As I said, it's very busy. We're having so much fun. So I hope you come in and join us, and that we see you in the studio real soon.